Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I am Gambhir and I am here to talk to you about Turkey. Once a model for the Islamic world, now a military power project. Not too long ago, Turkey used to be a modern and secular state, an Islamic republic with a progressive approach. But the Turkey of today is much different, thanks to Recep Tayyip Erdogan, a leader who wants to take his country back to its Ottoman days. A leader who wants to run Turkey like a modern-day sultan. But is his dream run about to get over? Are the Turkish people about to remove him from power? I ask that because in just hours from now, Turkey will be heading to the polls. And if you go by reports, surveys and opinion polls, they all indicate that Erdogan could lose, that his defeat is certain. In fact, a poll by ORC shows that Erdogan will win 44.2% of the vote, while his main challenger, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, will secure 51.7% of the vote. A poll by WION forecasts Erdogan at 44.4% and Kılıçdaroğlu at 49.5%. According to Metro poll, Erdogan could secure 46.9% of the vote and Kılıçdaroğlu 49.1%. Your poll shows Erdogan at 46.2%, Kılıçdaroğlu at 51.7%. And how should we perceive this? Is this due to Turkey's failing economy or because of its slide into authoritarianism? Or is it because Erdogan has finally found his match? The answer seems to be a mix of all three. Let me start with Erdogan's challenger, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, the chairman of Turkey's main opposition party, the Republican People's Party, known as CHP in Turkish. Who exactly is he? Well, Kılıçdaroğlu is a retired civil servant. He has emerged as Erdogan's primary challenger after 6 opposition parties, known as the Table of Six, chose him as their joint candidate. Interestingly, the mild-mannered Kılıçdaroğlu is called Gandhi Kemal or Turkey's Gandhi by the media. Why is that? Due to a passing resemblance with Gandhi's slight, bespectacled appearance. The 74-year-old has wasted no opportunity, by the way, in building on the Gandhi analogy. And that's not all. Kılıçdaroğlu also tries to emulate Gandhi in his mannerisms. He is soft-spoken, makes heart emojis with his hands, and talks about everyday issues as opposed to the international conspiracies that Erdogan speaks of. Simply put, he has positioned himself as the exact opposite to the president. As Erdogan talks about Turkey's global standing, the war in Ukraine, the high-handedness of Europe, so can this man defeat Erdogan? Well, who knows? What we do know is that this is the largest opposition push in recent Turkish history. A push led by Kılıçdaroğlu. Like I said, he is the candidate of a coalition of half a dozen parties known as the Table of Six or the Nation Alliance. The coalition includes parties from the left, center and right wings of Turkish politics. It disagrees on many issues, but it has found common ground on one thing: their desire to replace Erdogan as the country's president. Also, this time, the referendum depends on Turkey's youth, the millennials, Gen Z. They are going to overwhelmingly take part in these polls. And the numbers tell you the story. There are an estimated 13 million citizens below 24 in Turkey. Approximately 1/4 of the voters are between 18 and 29 years of age. And a staggering 5 million first-time voters will cast their ballots. Now, these numbers highlight the increasing importance of the youths in the country's politics. They also tell you how the youth is poised to significantly impact the election, which is why major political parties are actively seeking to attract their support. But who is the youth really with? Well, if we go by the media reports, Kılıçdaroğlu's campaign is resonating well with the young voters and the women. In fact, he himself has stated that these two groups will overwhelmingly vote for him in the election. And what about Erdogan? Well, he cannot really claim to have their support thanks to sky-high inflation, stalled growth, lack of jobs, crackdown on students. Also, Erdogan's regressive views towards women. Remember, in the past, he has referred to women who are not mothers as half a woman. He even advised women to have at least 3 children and said that men and women could not be treated equally. The youth's frustration with Erdogan can also be gauged through stories like these. These protests by Turkish students in 2021, what were they about? Well, Erdogan appointed a state-approved rector at the prestigious Istanbul University, and this rector was a business figure who once stood as a parliamentary candidate from Erdogan's party. The decision to appoint him was denounced as undemocratic by the university members and widely interpreted as a government attempt to infiltrate one of the country's last left-leaning institutions. The protest began in Istanbul and soon spread all over the country. So, from media reports to opinion polls to the views of Turkish women to the opinion of the Turkish youth, they all seem to indicate that Erdogan is in trouble. And why wouldn't he be? He has controlled Turkey for almost 20 years. First as Prime Minister, now as President. And in these 20 years, he has made Turkey an autocracy and installed himself on a moral high ground. He preaches others on what's right and what's not, but does not really practice it himself. The Turkish president claims to practice strict Muslim values and lead a humble life. This is his humble abode, a 1,000-room palace built at a cost of $615 million. 1,000 rooms. Erdogan's home is 30 times bigger than the White House in Washington. He travels the world in multi-million-dollar jets tailored to his preferences. And since we are discussing foreign trips, let me also tell you a bit about Erdogan's style of diplomacy. He traveled to Washington, D.C. in 2017. He was greeted by protesters. Erdogan was furious, so much so that he unleashed his bodyguards on them. They punched, kicked, and choked the demonstrators as the Turkish president watched. If he could pull that off on American soil, can you imagine what he does to dissenters in Turkey? In 2016, Turkey witnessed the bloodiest coup attempt in its political history. Immediately after this attempt, Erdogan got 160,000 people detained for questioning. And out of these, 77,000 people were jailed on charges of terror. Years after this massive crackdown, Erdogan feels that he is entitled to do as he wishes. He is converting museums and cathedrals into mosques, the conversion of Hagia Sophia being the tip of the iceberg. The Turkish regime is undertaking a series of conversions. Churches, museums, music, cinema, culture, almost everything is being Islamicized. So on Sunday, when the Turkish people head out to vote, they will keep all these things in mind. How he has trampled upon the rights of minorities and women, how he has put dissenters behind bars, and how he has taken his country back in time.